All right. Hey guys, it is Paul, half of Dads and Dice, and here I am again for our arena review, the monthly series where I talk about all the games that I've played on Board Game Arena, some solo, some with you guys, some with just some randos out on the Board Game Arena interwebs. And so, yeah, we're just going to kind of talk about all those games and really discuss anything new that I've done, which ones I've been playing a lot, and then hopefully get some games played, like I said, with you guys. So I think everything is working here. Everything looks good on my end. I think everything is working. Yep, sound is good, and there. So this month saw a lot of games on Board Game Arena. I guess I just had a game pretty much going on constantly. So we'll get into some of the stats here of what games I got, or how many games I got. So this was pretty much exactly a month. Usually whenever I'm doing these videos, I end it on the day that the video comes out. So this is from February 4th, which was the last time I did one of these, until March 3rd, today. So I've had a total of 55 plays on Board Game Arena. And then I have had a total of, 55 plays, but I've had a total of 22 different games. Hey, Pat, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Pat, you need to get on Board Game Arena so that we can play some stuff on here. So 55 total plays, 22 total games or different games, 7 that were new to me. I don't do the time just because I don't keep track of the time on here. And an H index of 3. So that means that I got 3 games played at least 3 times. Hey, Michael. Michael, I just saw it's my turn on the White Castle, and I really want to go do it right now. I've been waiting for some time for it. So let's see. I've played with a total of 20 different people. So that's quite a bit there. And then my main player count looked to be 2-player, and then my next one was solo. So quite a bit of solo gaming in there with these on there. I had 2 games that I played over 10 times, 1 game that I played over 15 times, and then the rest were a little bit less than that. So we'll go ahead and we'll flip over here to the Board Game Arena view, so that way we can start getting into these games. All right, so as I start always on these, this is Board Game Arena. If you don't know anything about Board Game Arena, it is a digital platform that implements a bunch of different board games. It's a great website to use for trying out new games. Maybe you have games that you don't like setting up as much, and this one helps that setup process. Or maybe it's just playing games that you're currently obsessed with, like I have been doing quite a bit lately. So on here, there are hundreds of games, if not thousands. And all you do is you just pick them and you start playing them with different friends. So I'm going to go ahead and drop my username there in the chat, so that if you want to join, you can join for Board Game Arena. We can play some types of games together. I would love that. I enjoy playing it with new people, old people, people that I know, random people. So let's get a game going on Board Game Arena. So we'll go ahead and the way that we'll do this list is we will go in order from games that I played the most down to games that I played the least. So there's quite a few games that I only played once, but those will all come at the end. So first up here, we have the White Castle. This game I got played a total of 16 times, and I'm currently in a game of it right now. I can go ahead and actually just pull up that one so that we can kind of see what it looks like. So like I mentioned, it's currently my turn. We are starting the last round. And this one's been interesting. So I think it's going to be pretty close. I'm pretty excited for it. But this is the White Castle. This is currently a game that I am just obsessed with. I've actually got it set up on my table underneath this because I was playing with the matcha expansion last night. I got 2 games in of it. But I've just been playing this one mainly because the solo is just so snappy whenever you're doing this digitally. But how you play the White Castle is this is a dice placement game where you have these bridges over here on the side, and each bridge, it's from order smallest to largest number, with some in the middle. Depending on player count, those dice change. So you'll see all these spaces out here on the main board that have these pip values. So anytime that you're drafting a die, you're placing it on one of these spaces. If you are putting a pip value that is lower than what's on the board, you have to pay that amount of coins. And if you're putting a number that is higher than that, you will get some amount of coins back. So if I were to put a 6 here, I would get 2 coins back. If I were to put a 1 here, I would have to pay 3 coins. As soon as you put a dice on there, you get to activate that dice's color action. So whatever dice color you put on here, you get to do the action associated with that color. And as you can see down here on this bottom row, if you put a black dice here, you get these 2 black options. Here you get these white ones, and here you get these orange ones. The cool thing about this game, or kind of the gimmick about this game that everybody talks about, is that this is only 3 rounds, and each round you only have 3 turns. So a total of 9 turns throughout the round. Now, with that being said, you are doing tons of combos. You are getting tons of actions per turn, or hoping to get tons of actions per turn. So at the end of the game, you might actually hopefully get more than double your 9 turns, anywhere between 18 to 20-ish turns. So you'll be placing all the dice. There's 3 main actions that you're going to do. So here you have this castle, and in this castle, you're going to be sending your workers up. Once you send them up here, you collect cards, and then you're going to be getting cards down here. Anytime you're sending people into these lower levels, you're getting victory points. Hey, Dennis, this higher level up here, this blue one, is 6 victory points, and then the top level here is 10 victory points. So at the end of the game, you'll score by how many ever couriers you have in these rows of the castle. Another one of the actions here is the training grounds, and you'll be sending warriors out here to the training grounds. So in order to get people in your castle, you need to pay, I think it's Mother of Pearl is the resource. For this training grounds up here to send your warriors, you need to be paying steel. So if you have 5 steel, you can send them up here, 3 steel, and then 1 steel. And you get to perform the actions that are in those spaces. So if you placed a warrior here in the 5 cost, you'd get to do any white die action plus get 3 Mother of Pearl. So as I was saying, combos, you place somebody here and then you can do a bridge action because that's a white one, or you could do another training action, anything like that, right? So you're going to try to really combo these off. And then finally, the other space here are the bridge actions, and this is where you send your gardeners, and this has to deal with food. So anytime that you place a worker here by paying the cost, you get to perform the action on the side. And that, again, is either gathering some type of resource, performing some type of action that's on the board, performing some type of action here on your personal player board, right? So, again, just tons of combos upon combos upon combos. The first time you play this game, you're probably going to do horrible. Even after I'm at 16 plays here on Board Game Arena, I'm still struggling at times to make things work. But it really all depends on the board layout, and it really, really is a fantastic game. I'm hoping that they incorporate the matcha expansion. I would not be surprised if they didn't, but I've been playing that on the table and absolutely love it. This is definitely one of my all-time favorite games. Even if I'm not the best at it, it's just super satisfying when you have stuff fall into place. George, yes, it is a terrific, terrific game. So that is the White Castle here. I've had 16 plays of it this month. All right, up next I have Distilled. And Distilled is a what kind of game would this be? You're ready for matcha? It's super good. I really, really enjoy it. Distilled. I'm not even sure how you would describe this game. Hey Ian, I guess this is a press your luck slightly drafting kind of set collection game in a way. But I've been playing a ton of this solo. Like I said, I have 10 plays of this one in, and I want to say maybe 2 or 3 of them have been multiplayer. So this actually inspired me to do my solo play last week of it, just because I've been getting it so much digitally that I really wanted to get it on the table also. So juggling a game with Space Base and watching the stream. Well, I appreciate you dividing your focus for us. What I really like here about Distilled is it looks like a lot, but it's really not. This is a game that once learned, I feel like you will never forget it, just because it makes so much sense thematically. So what you're doing is you're trying to run a distillery. And then there's, I want to say it's 5 phases. I don't remember exactly how many phases, but there's different phases in the game, and they all make sense. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to be buying from the market. So you have these distillery upgrades, you have these ingredients, and then you have premium items. So premium ingredients, premium items, and then up here you have your basic items. Now you can only ever get 2 items from the basic market. So you're always going to need a yeast, you're always going to need a water, or something that takes place of the yeast in the water. That could be sugar, alcohols, or you could even buy this turbo yeast that's down here, which is a premium ingredient. You're going to need some type of sugar. So there's different sugars. There's mixed grain, or there's grains, there's plants, and then there's fruits. And of course, you can get premium versions of that as well. And then for some liquors, you need some type of barrel. So it could be a wooden barrel or it could be a clay barrel. And then you don't need bottles, but bottles will give you they give you more money whenever you sell them. And then they do work as a set collection at the end of the game as well. So you'll go through that entire market, spending as much money as you want, keeping any money that you want, and then you actually go into the distilling phase. Everybody has a special character here, and they give you just different asymmetric abilities. So what you do is you have all of your ingredients in your pantry. You select which ingredients you want. Let's say you have 2 sugar alcohols, like this person does here. You have 2 grains here. 2 sugar alcohols would get added into it, just because how many ever sugars you have, that's how much alcohol gets added into there. You need your water and your yeast, and then you mix up your deck. You remove the top, you remove the bottom, and then whatever you're left with is what you can distill. Over here, you have your flight, and these are the recipes that you know. So if you want to distill kuchaka, you need to have at least 1 plant sugar, and it does not need to be aged. Down here, if you want to do rum, you need at least 2 plant sugars, and you need a wooden barrel in order to age it. So you go through that process, you decide what you want to do, you distill it, and then you go on to the next phase, which is the selling phase. You sell for how many ever points it's worth over here. You add any victory points that might be on the premium ingredients. You add any victory points that might be on your bottles. And then you also count the money that's on those cards as well. If you don't want to sell it, then you will put it into your warehouse and you'll start aging them. And this is actually the next phase, where you add these flavor cards, and those flavor cards just give you more money whenever you sell it. After that, it's just a cleanup. You clean up all your stuff, and then you start over from the top. The game lasts 7 rounds, and honestly, it just flows so well. It's a game that I think the theme is just perfect for it. And again, it's a game that don't think I will ever forget, just because it makes so much sense thematically. So that is Distilled. All right. And then after this, they kind of drop off quite a bit. So I played 10 games of Distilled. And then my next one is actually 4 games. And this is Bandito. So this is one that I've seen quite a bit in the past, and I finally decided to give it a shot. Now, I've only played this one solo, and I think I actually have more than 4 plays of this. I want to say it's more like 6. Maybe I haven't updated my app, but Bandito, I have not played it multiplayer at all. I've only played it solo. Let me actually, this would be easier to do here. Let's just actually start a game, and I won't play it all, but I'll kind of show you guys how it works. It reminds me quite a bit of Trailblazers, the game where you are just laying out these different cards and trying to make different patterns. So the goal of Bandito here is you have this Bandito, this prisoner, and he is trying to escape prison. And what you're trying to do is to get all these tunnels that he's digging and make them go onto dead ends. So you'll see up here, this card has all of these different paths that it will create, but it does block off here as a dead end. So what I could do is I could place this here, right? And then now it's opened up these other pathways that it can go. So now at this point, I can go ahead and, do something like this and continue from there. So then I'll just keep on going. I thought that was going to fit there, but it's not. So again, I'm just placing these tiles there and trying to make them go into a dead end. This one's going to be terrible, but that's okay. I've actually only won like one of these games because it's a lot trickier than what you would expect. So actually this one here, we're going to put it right there. And now you can see that this bandito cannot go here because those are dead ends. Now its only option is go that way. So what you're trying to do eventually is just completely block out all of these paths that it can go to and then just keep him enclosed. So we'll go ahead and end that there, but that is Bandito. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice little puzzly game. Probably plays in 5 to 10 minutes, at most 10 minutes. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's they've got a couple different versions as well. They have Bandita, I think, is the other one. Where did it go? Bandito. They have a COVID-19 version of it that I guess was a print and play edition that they did of the game. And then they have their Bandita. So they have a couple different exits and stuff like that. Another super card, which I'm not 100% sure what those are. I've just been having a ton of fun playing the base game here. So I think, but I'm not sure. I'm going to assume the multiplayer game is a cooperative game. I'm not, again, I don't know. All I know is, again, I've only ever looked into this game solo, so might be cooperative. Oh yeah, right there, cooperative tile placement. So yeah, that's a Bandito. It's a ton of fun. It's been kind of my go-to game where, I'm sitting in a dark room after waiting for my daughter to fall asleep. I just pull up Board Game Arena and just do a couple rounds of Bandito and try to win. But not so much luck on that game. That one's been pretty hard. Okay, up next we have 5 Tribes. I've gotten 3 games of 5 Tribes in. This was actually our Board Game Arena monthly game night that we played in February. I played it a little bit before that, and then I've been played it a little bit after that as well. But 5 Tribes is fun. Let me find, here we go. Well, this is at 0 progress, but that's okay. So in 5 Tribes, you have all of these different color meeples, and this is a Mancala style board game. So what that means is on your turn, you're going to be picking up a tile. So let's say you pick up this B2 right here. You're going to pick up all 3 of these meeples, and then you're going to drop them off. So you'll pick them up, and then you choose wherever you want to go, and you choose whatever color you're going to drop in there. Now, one of the main rules of the game is your last meeple has to fall in a spot with a meeple of that color. So if I were here, I could pick these up. I could drop off yellow here. I could drop off white here. And then I could drop off blue here because there's already a blue one. Another example, I could pick these up. I could drop off blue here. I could drop off yellow here. I could drop off white here because white is there. I would not be able to drop off yellow here because there's none of that color. Each one of these colors does a different thing. And you can see each tile has different actions as well. So the blue tiles are the blue meeples are kind of a multiplier. So it's how many ever meeples you pick up times how many ever surrounding blue circles are around it. So let's say I picked up 2 from here, right? That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because there's 6 blue ones surrounding it, times 2. So that would be 12 victory points. Red ones are assassins. Basically, you can assassinate either a yellow or a white from opponents. And yellows or whites are just worth victory points at the end of the game. Yellows are worth 1, whites are worth 2. Or you can shoot off some from different spaces on the board. Green ones are your merchants, and how many ever you pick up allows you to draw some cards down here from the market. And then you can sell these kind of as a set collection thing for money. And then I think that's all the colored meeples. Yep. And then each action here on the board does something different. So this one here allows you to place a palm tree. This one here allows you to pay 6 coins to get 2 cards from the market. This one allows you to put a palace, 3 coins for 1 card from the market. This one here, you can trade in 2 white meeples or a white and a fakir, I think is what they're called. It's these guys down here, in order to get a djinn. And these are the djinn cards, and they just give you some kind of abilities when stuff triggers. And that's really it. That's the game. It sounds a little bit more complicated than what it is. But in the end, basically, money is points. So if you're selling a lot of these cards from the market, you're going to be getting a lot of money, which in turn will give you a lot of points. These give you points. The game trigger for the end of the game trigger is whoever's placed all their camels. So you can see that they have 8 camels, and you place a camel when you empty out a space. So if you pick up a space that has all the same colors, like right here, if I did this move here, I would do white, blue, and then red. I would pick up all the reds. I would perform this action. I would do my assassin action, and then here I would place a camel because I've picked up everything in that spot. What I really like about this also is this turn mechanic. It's really cool because you're bidding for where you want to go. I have found that for the most part, I generally don't mind going towards the end because, again, coins are money. So I'm saving victory points every time I go towards the end. I only like to go kind of higher up in turn order if I really feel like there is something that I really need from it. So that was a really fun one. I had a good time playing this one on our board game arena night. I'm going to go ahead and drop our Discord there in the chat also, because we do have another board game arena coming up, a board game arena night coming up. So if you haven't joined that, go ahead and join our Discord server there and stay up to date with all of our going on there. All right, so that was 5 tribes. Next up, we have Sky Team. Sky Team, I've been playing this one with Ian, who's there in the chat. We were on a pretty good streak for a while playing this game, doing really good. And we've been kind of not doing so good lately, and I think we need to change that. Obviously, we've been playing some of the harder levels, but this game is really cool. So what you're doing is, and let's see, I've played 3 games of this one since last time. So on this game, you're playing two different people, right? So it's a two-player game. It's cooperative. One person's going to be the pilot. One person's going to be the co-pilot. Co-pilot is orange. Pilot is blue. And on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to roll the dice, or both players are going to roll the dice. And this game is completely silent. You cannot talk to your partner whatsoever in this game. So what you're going to be doing is placing dice in a bunch of different places. So if you're the co-pilot, you are going to be controlling the flaps of the wings. You're going to be controlling half of the axis here of the wings. And then here you're going to be controlling the engine. The yellow one has destroyed us. I can't even imagine the hardest levels. Maybe we need to switch roles. Very true. Yeah, we could do that. I have been playing the co-pilot. I've gotten comfortable with that, but I think you're right. I actually don't even know what this is down here. This is a new track, it looks like. Interesting. So new stuff gets added in there whenever you go on to the harder levels. But yeah, so you're just going to be placing dice and, you know, kind of trying to clear out these airplanes by placing numbers up here. So like this 3, if I just placed it, I would clear this one out because it's on the 3rd space. Whenever you're placing numbers here on your wing flaps, this moves up, which makes you move slower, possibly, yeah, it makes you move slower. On the other one, you have to control the brakes. So there's quite a bit going on in it. I know that wasn't the best explanation. This is LaGuardia. But yeah, I know that's not the best explanation, but it really does start making sense. And I'm unsure if it's better on Board Game Arena or if it's better in person. Board Game Arena, I feel like it actually feels more like the game is supposed to be played because it's completely silent. But I don't know. I don't know. It's fun. I definitely enjoy this game, and I'm glad that we're getting to play it. And they also have like all the new expansions and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's Sky Team. I have it right up here on my shelf, right up there. I just need to convince my wife to play it in purple. I saw a color here and said it. I just need to convince my wife to play it in person, and we will get that one played. But it's a ton of fun. Really, really enjoy Sky Team. All right, up next we have a Praga Kaput Regni. Yeah, I think it's great. It's a really good implementation on Board Game Arena. I got 2 games of Praga in. I've talked about this one quite a bit, so I'm not going to get super deep into it again. But this is a Vladimir Suchy game. Vladimir Suchy is known for his action selection, and he's also known for only having generally about 14 to 18 turns per game, and each of those turns being very starved for resources. So on this game here, you have this action selection wheel, and what you'll do is you will pick a tile. So if you're picking a red tile, you're having to pay a cost. If you're picking a tile that's in the green, it's free. And then if you're picking one of these in blue, you're getting victory points. A couple things to consider whenever you're picking tiles is, first of all, what action do you want to do? So you can do one of 2 actions. And then what bonus do you want to get as well? The 4 main actions that you can do, 4 main actions? Not 4. 6 main actions that you can do, are 3 of them are basically the same. You can either, 2 of them are basically the same. You can either build down here in the city, and what you're wanting to do is cover up around these plazas or build around these plazas to get bonuses. You can build your walls, which is this action here, and let's see if anybody's done that. Nobody's done that yet, but walls are these gray ones, and when you place them, you get bonuses that are here in the green little windows. And for the most part, you also get movements on the blue castle, on the hunger wall. Whenever you're doing your building, you most of the time get stuff on the cathedral. So that is over here, and you're just moving along either the hunger wall or moving along the cathedral. Just another way to get victory points. You can also upgrade your actions. So here, anytime that I would take the building action, I would pay a coin and then I would get 2 stone in return. 2 of the other actions are very similar. You can either mine for gold or mine for stone, or you can produce income on either of those tracks. And these are your tracks there. So if you're mining for it, you are going deeper down. If you're producing everything before it. And then the last action here is the St. Charles Cathedral. So what you do on this one is you are placing your workers on these spaces here and then performing these actions. These actions are better if you have eggs, because for some reason, I guess in reality, this road was built with eggshells. Don't know exactly, but if you're paying eggs, you get to do another action on top of that. There's 4 spaces on this road, and then you go to the actual bridge, and then you will lay stuff out on the bridge and get bonuses from there. So this game takes a while to understand, kind of like the White Castle. You're not going to do very well the first couple times that you play it, but as you start playing it, you start understanding kind of what you need. There's ways to get bonus turns or extra turns. There's a lot of stuff that you can get in this game, and honestly, it's very satisfying when stuff works how it's supposed to. So that is a Praga Kaput Regni. All right, up next we have On Tour. I got to play 2 games of On Tour. This is actually the first time that I ever played this one. These ones are new to me this month, so I guess I should go back and say that. Bandito is new to me this month. 5 Tribes was new to me this month. Although I did play the original 5 Tribes years ago. Devin backed it on Kickstarter back whenever that game came out. And then On Tour is new to me as well. I'm going to be honest here. On Tour is not my favorite. I don't... Oh, this one's interesting. We're not going to look at that one. On Tour is just a game that it's a roll and write. It is exactly a roll and write. I don't know what's going on here. Am I on the wrong map? USA. We're just gonna go ahead and do the next one. Here we go. There's USA. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna roll some dice here. And then you're going to use those as 2 numbers. You're going to use it as a 26 and as a 62. What you're trying to do is you are trying to get the longest route of sequential numbers. So here, for example, this person has 50, 52, 52, 59, 60, 63, 72, 79, 82, right? So they've got a pretty good little thing going there. Over here, they have 1, 3, 5, 6. I believe stars are wild. So it could go 6, 10, 13, so on and so forth, right? You get bonuses if you place them in the actual cities that are on the cards. So for like, if you place a 26 in North Carolina here, you get some type of bonus. If you place it with Tennessee, if you place it on Utah. What I don't really enjoy about this game, or maybe I don't understand it that much, or I haven't looked into it much. There's no real dice mitigation whatsoever. So once you screw up something, or if you get a number that is just not good for anybody, it can just completely mess up your number run or whatever it may be, right? Like if you have all this kind of stuff filled in and you've got this really great route going, and then you just keep rolling bad numbers, it just doesn't work out. I feel like there isn't much strategy. I agree with that, Ian. There's not much strategy, and it's just luck based. So I'm not gonna lie, the 2 times that I've played this one, for the most part, I've said there's some numbers close here. I'm just gonna put it on there. Haven't given it much thought, just placing numbers where it is, because honestly, that's kind of what the game feels like. I do remember years ago, maybe it was during COVID, maybe a little bit before that, but I think this game originally was a print and play version. And I printed it out forever ago, whenever that was, but I never actually played it. I think I was going to use it more as just like a solo, whatever, waste your time doing a roll and write instead of something else. But I never got to it, and I don't know, not very impressed with On Tour. So that's that game there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is some ways to implement some strategy in it, but I have not figured it out yet. All right, up next we have Architects of the West Kingdom, and I got to play this one once. All the rest of the games here I've played once, and this is one of my favorites. Absolutely love this game. I've talked about it before. This was actually probably one of my first board games that I bought. Not the first, but one of the first ones that I bought, and what really, really kind of got me hooked into the hobby. So this is a worker placement, worker investment game. And I feel like I have at least 20 X and rights that I'll choose over On Tour. I agree with that 100%. So this is a worker placement game. But like I said, it's more of a worker investment game because you're really not blocking spots. In reality, there's only 3 spots that you can block in this game. So what you're doing is you are hiring these different apprentices here. And these apprentices give you certain actions whenever you do different actions, whenever you go to different actions. So you're hiring apprentices. You are building your buildings. And we can't see any buildings, but buildings are resources, so you have to pay resources in order to build these buildings. You're also building up on the cathedral, or possibly building up on the cathedral by paying these resources here, discarding a building card, moving up there. And you're also trying to mitigate your virtue loss. So you can play this game kind of virtueless, and lose some virtue, or you can play, graciously, we'll call it, and you can gain some virtue, or you can do a mixture of both, which is generally how I play. So what you do is, let's say I'm going to have a meeple. You start off with 20 meeples, and you're just placing them out on the board. So up here at the mines, if I place a worker, I get 1 + 1 per worker. So if I have 1 worker here, I get 2 pieces of clay. If I have 2 workers here, I get 3, so on and so forth. Ken, you are probably about halfway. Or if I have 2 workers here, I can get some gold. On the quarry, it works the same way. It's just 1 stone per worker. Forest, 1 wood per worker. Silversmith is coins, and that works the exact same as the mines, except for its coins. The only spots that you can block down here are the black market. And you'll notice here, these are virtue loss. Now, generally you get virtue loss because these rewards are so much better. You do have to pay some coins in order to go here, but once you go here, you get whatever reward is underneath that. Those do refresh as well as the black market refreshes. You can go to the tax stand. You can rob the tax stand. You lose 2 virtue, but you get generally more money. Or you can come up here and build on the cathedral, like I said, paying off those things. Now, you only have 20 workers, so if you ever do have all 20 workers out on the board, unfortunately for your turn, you just have to click one and return it back. That is your turn. So instead of doing that, you want to come here to the town center. You can capture your workers that are in one spot. So let's say you have 4 here. You can capture all 4, bring them back to your player board. Or let's say that somebody else has 6 of their workers here. You can capture all 6 of their workers and actually go drop them off here at the guardhouse, getting money for it. So there seems like there's quite a bit going on in this game, but honestly, it's very streamlined. And if you're playing with people that know how to play the game, it's very snappy. It's very quick. You can play the base game of this, I would say, on the table in less than an hour if everybody knows what they're doing. And here on Board Game Arena, even quicker than that. So it's been some time since I've played this one on Board Game Arena, because I did do a tournament. I don't remember if it was over the summer or towards, September, somewhere around there. But it was good. I enjoyed it, and I will definitely always come back to architects. Okay, up next we have, gotta go a little bit quicker here. We have the Castles of Burgundy. This is another game that not 100% sure how to play it. It's one that I just kind of play and kind of figure out what I'm doing. I've looked at the rules quite a bit, but I've never actually like really sat down and looked at them hard. But what you're doing, it's another dice work replacement. Probably one of the most well-known dice work replacement games, where you roll in dice, and then you are either getting some type of terrain from over here. So with this 4, I could get this water or this town hall. And then with your other dice, you're going to place it somewhere on your board matching that color. So I could use this 4 to get this town hall, and then I could use this 1 to place the town hall here. Your spaces do have to be adjacent, and it has to just kind of build out from there. Same thing, I could do that. No, yeah. So you could just do some stuff like that. You score by majority of terrains. You score by different buildings. They do different stuff for you. The river will give you some... up here, they give you some bonuses. You can also sell stuff at port, I think is what it's called. But yeah, there's just quite a bit going on in this game. Honestly, a lot of it does feel kind of random as well, although there is some dice mitigation because you've got these workers, so you can change the pip value. But yeah, it's one that I'll play. It's not one that I'm going to play very hard or very strategically. But it is one that I'll play. George, I've heard of Castles of Tuscany. What is different about that one? Has anyone here played Tyrants of the Underdark? I have not heard of that game, Dennis, so I cannot help you on that. Yeah, that's Castles of Burgundy. I think it's a fine game. I can see why people enjoy it, but it's definitely not the best game, at least not for me. I got to play Obsession. I got to play this one with Curvin from 4Y Games back towards the beginning of February. Obsession is a highly thematic game that is personally not one of my favorite games. It's okay. It's a game that I feel like has a lot of luck in it just by drawing the different tiles. But it is very, very thematic. And I will say that I would much prefer this. I much prefer this game on the table than I do on Board Game Arena. I think what carries this game is the theme. So basically, you are some, Downton Abbey or Pride and Prejudice style family, and you're trying to gain reputation. You're trying to put on different parties, different sporting events, trying to gain prestige. All while trying to improve your estate and trying to court the different Fairchild. So trying to get them into your court. It's like I said, I can see why some people really enjoy it. If I'm going to play it, I'm going to play it on the tabletop instead of here on Board Game Arena. Also, there's a lot of reading and stuff on here, and it's really small. I don't know. I think it's a decent game. Not my favorite game. Understand why people like it, but not one for me, at least not digitally. Okay, up next we have Wingspan. I like Tyrants, prefer the old version with the small minis, no dice, tile placement, 2 score tracks. Huh, interesting. This is Wingspan. I believe I got to play this one with Ian. And yeah, I remember. I got to play this one with Ian, and I could not get anything going. I had a very rough game. It was still pretty close, but it was pretty rough. So with the game, what you're doing is you're just playing birds out on these different ecosystems, terrains, whatever it may be, and performing actions that they do. So you can either gather for some food, get some eggs, get some new cards, and hopefully you are putting these birds on there that let you do other stuff as well. So as you're gaining some, well, this card wouldn't work there, but let's say that you could play this into the grasslands. As you're gaining some eggs, you can also gain some grain. Or, there's some other ones that are like, whenever somebody rolls this, you get this as well. So you're trying to build up this engine and really try to get the most bang for your buck for these birds. In between each round, there are some goals that you're going to be trying to achieve. So whoever has the most of something will get these end of round victory points. And then eggs on cards give you victory points. If you have any cards tucked behind other ones, those give you victory points. So there's really just a lot of point salady, kind of getting points as many ways as you can, but also trying to build out just the most efficient engine that you can in a very short time period. I really do enjoy Wingspan. It was a game that I did not like at much when I first played it, but as I've gotten more in the hobby, as I've been playing it a lot more, it's one that I've really enjoyed. So with that being said, I have not tried any of the other Span universe games, so I don't know how it compares to any of those, but I think Wingspan is a very solid game for what it is. Dennis and Michael, is that a game that is recently on Kickstarter? Okay. Next up, we have Let's Go to Japan. I feel like I talk about this one all the time, but that is okay. It is a terrific game. You are planning a trip to Japan, and you have every day of the week, you have some type of activity that you want to do. And those activities are these different symbols. So, for example, here on Monday, they want to go shopping. On Tuesday, they want to visit some of these, whatever they're called, shrines. On Wednesday, you want to save some money and relax. Thursday, you want some fine dining. Friday, you want to get some conversation. And then Saturday, you want to visit the outdoors. So all of these change every game that you play. Those tokens move around, so it's not going to be the same. And so how it works is you're going to play 3 cards in each column, and you can play a card either in front of or behind the previous cards. You'll be gathering those symbols here on this track, and then you will score. Whenever it's time to score, you will only score the one that is visible. So for example, here, in order for this one to score, this person needs 2 of those shrines or whatever they may be, and they will get 2 blue communication symbols. So you can see that they already have the 2 reds here before that, so they will score this. They'll get 2, 4, 7 plus 5 more points plus the 2 blues. So you're trying to move up this track as much as you can. You're also trying to not be stressed out. If you're stressed out, you'll lose victory points. That's what these red symbols are here. Either you're spending too much money or you're just stressed out. Here you're saving money or you are relaxing, which is the green lightning bolt. I really like this game a lot. I like it with the expansion, which this makes sense here. This person has the returning visitors card, so you start the game with 1 of each on the experience token. I was wondering how he had those on there. And then this extravagant, this other player has each money sign does not move your marker token, but it does give you 1 victory point, so that's pretty cool as well. So here, instead of it moving, he'll be getting a victory point. And honestly, that's pretty good here because there he'll get 2 more victory points as well. So I really like that. I like the asymmetric ability of the passport expansion. Ian, I saw it. I saw that it's on your wall. Thought it was an interesting theme to have Japan as a theme on there. I didn't realize you had so many Japanese games, but very cool. No, it's a few years old. I just learned of it recently. I'll have to look into that once I'm done with the stream. Do you have the expansion? And you're saying expansions. Is there more than 1 expansion, Ian? Up next, we have Stone Spine Architects. Stone Spine Architects is a card drafting game where you are trying to build out a dungeon. And I actually really, really like this game. I wish I got to play it in person more than I do. But it works very well on Board Game Arena. So what you'll do is you'll have some cards, you'll be drafting them, and you're going to be placing them here in your dungeon. So at the end of the game, you're going to have a 4x4 grid. 4x4? Yeah, 4x4 grid. In your grid, you're going to want to follow this blueprint as best as possible. So this person here, they need a kobold in the second space on the top row. So they don't have a kobold there, so they have not finished that part of their blueprint. They can always get one later, and then they need this type of terrain for the final spot. So that's what that type of terrain is there. At the end of the round, you will count up your money, and whoever has the most money will be the first on the priority, and they can buy stuff here from the market. So, like I said, that person might see a kobold on the market later on, and they could place it up here, thus fulfilling their blueprint there. Once you're done with the market, there's some stuff that changes around in there, but once you're done with the market, you get to choose one of these challenges. And that's what you'll be scoring at the end of the game. So at the end of the game, you will have 3 challenge cards plus this goal card that everybody has. And so it's just a really good way of kind of not streamlining, but it gives you some goals to work towards the end of the game. So like, let's say you have a ton of traps, like this person has 3 traps here. Well, that's in the central chambers there, but I don't know, if you see something that you're going for, you can definitely grab those challenges and really hammer them hard in order to get a lot of victory points in the game. So I've really enjoyed this one. You are also going to be making a route as far as you can from the entrance to the exit, and then from the exit back to the entrance. So how many ever rooms you go through, you get that many victory points as well. Passports adds the asymmetric ability. Day trip adds Sunday and a single card for the day you have a day trip. Oh, that's interesting. I have not seen anything about the day trip. I wonder if they'll implement that onto Board Game Arena. Okay, up next we have Azul Summer Pavilion. It has been years since I've played Azul Summer Pavilion. This one is new to me here on Board Game Arena, but I actually played this game the year that it was released at BGG-Con. Devin and I, it was our last day at the convention, and we saw somebody there that was playing it. We saw Azul. We said, hey, we like Azul. And then he taught us Summer Pavilion. And then I got to play it again recently, and I really thought it was good. It's a very Azul feeling game, without it being too much. I feel like Azul Queen's Garden went a little bit too much to where it doesn't feel like Azul anymore. This still has that DNA. So what you're doing on this one is, let me remember here. This is different because they've already gone through the drafting phase of the game. So you'll be drafting tiles basically like you do in normal Azul. But every round there's going to be some wilds. So here you see the wild. So in round 1, purple is wild. Round 2, it's green, orange, yellow, blue, and then red. So you're trying to fill out this pavilion. And what you have to do is you have to, this is also the non-colored side of it. This is where they're doing their own colors. But here you'd have to discard one color, one tile of that color to put it here. So I could put 1 yellow, and then this would be my yellow tiles. Then I could discard 2 yellows and place that there. Let's say, I don't know, I had another one and red was wild. You'd be able to use that wild to place another one here. Not the best example because that's not the board that we used. Here we go. So this one has the actual colors on there. So it's blue, red, orange, purple. And then the center one is kind of a mishmash. So you can put 1 of one color, discard 2 to put another color. Anytime you encircle one of these symbols on here, you get to draw more tiles here from the center. So if you do this little trophy, you get 2 from the center. If you do this part on the outside, you get 3 from the circle. And you score victory points by adjacency, kind of like in regular Azul. And you also score points. I forget the other way. But you can hold 4 tiles in between rounds and go from there. So this is definitely a step up from regular Azul. Oh, right here. This is how you score points. If you fill in the entire color, whatever color that may be, that's how many points you get. If you've done all the 1s, all the 3s, all the 2s, all the 4s, you get those many victory points as well. Definitely a step up from regular Azul, from base Azul, but it is a good challenge. One that I'm going to play again this next month. So that is Azul Summer Pavilion. All right, up next we have Fromage. Fromage. This is an interesting game. It has 4 mini games, basically, is what it is. So each section of these boards, you're going to be doing something different. It could be something like area control, a sort of set collection, route building. There's a lot of different things on there. You can be collecting resources, but really you're only focusing on the board that is in front of you at the time. So you start off with 3 cheeses. And those 3 cheeses can go in different orientations. You can have it pointing right, you can have it going up and then pointing left. Every round, or when everybody's done, this board is going to rotate. And once it rotates, if your cheese is facing you, you get that cheese back. So your cheese are your workers. So for example, if I put one here on the 1 space, if it rotated once, it would then be pointing down, facing me. I would get that cheese back. This one, I'm going to have to wait 2 turns until it points to me again. So once it rotates again, then it'll be pointing to me. How to get that cheese back. This is a fun game. I do enjoy it. I don't think Board Game Arena is the best implementation of it. This was a game that Devin and I were we very much enjoyed the in real life experience of it. And I think it has a lot to do with, I don't want to say it's just a gimmick, but just the mechanic is really cool of actually going out and doing that. The fact that you're doing stuff simultaneously makes the game feel really good. And then the fact that the game is done in about 45 minutes. Playing this async, playing it not in real time, I think hinders the game quite a bit. This is a game that I think thrives on that on the table presence, playing it playing it synchronicity, playing it all simultaneously. That's the word that I'm looking for. And just that. I think it's implemented well here on Board Game Arena, but I don't know. I think the game needs that simultaneous play. And it needs that interaction of just everybody doing stuff. So it's a good game. I think it's fun. I don't think it's the best on Board Game Arena. Harmonies. I got 1 play of this one as well. Harmonies is one that I've mentioned quite a bit of times. It kind of gives those Azul vibes or Cascadia kind of vibes. So on your turn, what you're doing is you are drafting tiles and then possibly drafting a card if you want. When you place these tiles down, you're trying to make these patterns. So this person here has this pattern that they can make or this pattern, and that's what they're going for now. So you will try to make those. As soon as you make a pattern, you get to place these cubes on top of it, on top of one of those cards, and score the victory points that are there. So obviously, if you make this pattern once, you get 5 points. If you make it twice, it's 10 points. And if you make it a third time, you get 17 points for it. the cube that is, or I'm sorry, the tile that has a cube on top of it can't have another cube on top of it at a later time. So you have to have this spatial awareness of just kind of where do you want them to be. So it's a good game. I do enjoy it. The one sort of issue that I have with the game, I guess, is I wish there was a way to refresh either the cards or the tiles that are out there, or have like a little stored area, like on a Azul Summer Pavilion. You could hold 4 different tiles and not place them. I think that would be really good, because a lot of times you might just get some tiles that don't work for you and you have to place them. So I think if maybe you had just something that was like, you can store 3 tiles here, kind of like what a Potion Explosion does. You have your little things and you can store them on there. I don't know. I think that would help the game a little bit. Not that this game is long or anything like that, but that's kind of my one gripe with it, is there are times where I wish I could refresh this or refresh the tiles. I heard somebody else talking about that. They said like in Cascadia you have the pine cones, and that allows you to get like 2 different things. I don't know exactly what they would do, but something like that, just to refresh it a little bit. Dennis, you've never played Azul. I've been watching reviews, playthroughs for like 2 days on all the versions. I believe the Master Chocolatier. I don't think Master Chocolatier is any different than the base Azul, except that it's chocolates. So they do have the Azul here on Board Game Arena if you wanted to give it a shot before you actually try the other game, before you actually buy one, because I believe it's the exact same version. There might be something different in there, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure it's just the same game. Okay, I got to play Super Fantasy Brawl with Ken. Add some factory tile powers. Interesting. Okay. I am not going to do a good job explaining this game whatsoever. I'm going to try to find a game that has more than 0% of it done, so that way we can actually see the board, because that's going to be the actual part. Okay. Again, I'm not going to be able to explain this well whatsoever, but this is Super Fantasy Brawl. This is just a skirmish game where you're just fighting each other. And so you have these 3 leaders, and these leaders do different abilities, right? So they do some type of ability. You also have a deck of cards that you're going to be cycling through, and it's just your basic kind of skirmish stuff. Move here, attack here, defend this. And you are just going to be going head to head, trying to beat each other. Some of your actions use these different, I guess we'll call them energies. So you have the yellow, the red, and the blue that you have to use in order to activate some different abilities, kind of stuff like that. The game was fine. I want to say it's the first to 3 points. I'm probably wrong on that, but I know it's not a ton of points. This is a game that is going to benefit from multiple playthroughs, because you get to figure out how these leaders work. You get to figure out kind of what cards they have. You get to know just their abilities a little bit more. So this is one that I don't know if I'm going to play much more of, just because I feel like the time commitment to it to get to know really what you're playing is a little bit too high, and not really what I want for Board Game Arena. But yeah, it was Super Fantasy Brawl. I'm glad Ken kind of taught this game to me. I'm glad we got to play it together, but it's not one that I'm itching to return to or anything like that. So up next we have Diced Veggies. I said this last time. I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed Diced Veggies. This is a game that I will continue to come back to. Beans Blades, good luck, hope you win. Unfortunately, not playing anything right at this moment, but appreciate it. Diced Veggies is a game where you have a square of dice. So they come out in this perfect little square. And what you're doing is you're going to be drafting these die. So you can only ever draft up to a 10 value. So whatever that may be, you can do this 3, this 4. If there was a 2 here, you'd be able to draft all 3 of those. Here you can draft this 9. Here you can draft this 9, right? So you can only draft the dice that are on the outside. You can't ever get something that is inside blocked by other stuff. So these are your ingredients. And with these ingredients, you're going to be trying to complete these recipes. So for the most part, pip value doesn't matter too much. It can matter with some of your hype cards. Hype cards are just cards that give you a bigger bonus. But for example, here, in order to do this Western omelet, you have to have 2 green dice, a purple dice or pink dice, and then a brown dice or whatever that may be. You get 6 victory points for it. The hype cards can be something like your dice must be in sequential order. You must have all 2s. You can only have odd numbers, anything like that. You don't have to do those hype cards, but they do give you more victory points onto your recipe. Now the dice mitigation on here is this chef token, and what the chef token does is it allows you to either change one of those ingredients, so it allows you to like trade out a green for example, right here, this person could trade out they can't complete that. They could trade out a red for a pink, and then they'd be able to complete this Western omelet. Or it allows you to change the number for those hype cards kind of things. So it's really cool. I think it's the first one to 6, I believe. Could be wrong on that. But the first one to 6 recipes is the one that triggers the end game, and then everybody else can finish up a recipe. I mentioned it before. First time I saw it was at a BGG con. I thought it was just a gimmick because you had the cleaver, like Ian is saying there. But it's actually a lot more strategic than it has any right to be. So that's a fun one. I've really enjoyed Diced Veggies. I got to play Framework. It has been a minute since I played Framework. I guess last time I was at Devin's house, I actually saw it on his shelf and thought, oh, I need to play that one again. So I played it here on Board Game Arena. But basically, Framework is I don't even know how to explain it. It is I guess, set collection style game. Let me try to find a different one here. But really what you're doing is you're looking for this kind of run-through adjacency, I guess is what they call it. So all of these tiles, they have some type of frame and then some type of number, or just one or the other. So for example, this one just has the number. You are trying to match frames by these tasks in the middle. So for example, let me see if I can find one here that this was a red or a gray task. So it was having 4 red or gray tasks. So what that means is you need to have 4 red or gray tiles next to it, right? So this one is obviously next to it, this one's next to it, and this one's next to it. This one above it has what they call run-through adjacency. I think that's what it's called. But basically, it's adjacent to one that's adjacent to it. So it counts as that one. This task right here is probably 5 green tasks. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are the 5 adjacent tasks to it. You have ones like this. This one basically says you have to have 4 gold ones, and then you can do 3 green ones. Right, this one is 7 brown ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're almost getting that one. Now with this game, you're never going to do all of them. Some of them are just going to be tiles that you have out to complete other tasks. So you've got that nice little puzzle of it. This is a Uwe Rosenberg game. Same guy as Feast for Odin, Caverna, Agricola, all those other games. And it's definitely one of his lighter games. but it is definitely not one of, I can't say it's one of his better games, but it's definitely a very, very good game of Yui's. It is similar to Nova Luna, I believe, is the other game, which I believe is here on Board Game Arena as well. Look at that, Ian, trying to start up a game with me right now. Let me join that, and then I will come back to it in a little bit. Nova Luna. It's not here on Nova. Yeah, it's here on Board Game Arena. So I believe with Nova Luna, it's basically the same game, except instead of drafting tiles from a bag, you are drafting them from this ring over here, and it's got this kind of just different mechanic for drafting it, but it's basically the exact same game. You're trying to complete tasks here instead of with the frames. So he kind of streamlined Nova Luna a little bit more. Talking about Yui, I got to play some Patchwork. Another one of Yui's smaller games. This one is definitely one of my favorite Yui games. A lot more strategic and a lot more cutthroat than what it looks like. These colors are a little bit hard to see, but it's okay. It's framework meets trekking through history with a time wheel. Makes sense. Framework is definitely Framework came out after Nova Luna, so I guess he didn't really enjoy that other. I guess he didn't like the time wheel kind of thing, whatever it may be. So here for Patchwork, what you're trying to do is you're trying to collect the most buttons. That's really the aim of the game. You have these tiles, these polyomino tiles all around the outside. And what you can do is you can draft from the following three. So for example, this player can get this one, or this one, if they have the amount of buttons it costs. So buttons and time are your resources in this game. Yeah, these colors are pretty hard to see. But for example, this one costs you 10 buttons, but it also costs you 5 time. So time is here on this time track. You move up that many spaces. As soon as you make it to the end, your game ends. Anytime you pass one of these buttons, that is your income. You collect income for how many ever buttons you have on your quilt. At the end of the game, every empty space that you have, I think, is worth -2 victory points. I always forget. I think it's -2 victory points. Every button that you have is victory points. So in like true Yui fashion, you start off with a ton of negative victory points. You're trying to fill up all the spots and then get more than what you started with. So it's a nice little balance of saving time, trying to get as many buttons, trying to fill up your patch or your quilt as quickly as you can, because you might get this 7x7 special tile if you get a 7x7 grid filled in. So that is Patchwork. We'll go ahead and leave this one because those colors are very rough on the eyes. We've got just a couple more here. Actually, this is the last one. And this is Castle Combo. I'm surprised I only got one game of this one in, because this one is a very good game, one that I've really enjoyed a lot. And I think I just started playing it towards the end of last year. But this is a little tableau builder where you are drafting cards from either this gold row or this silver row. I'm sure they have other names for it. But you have this little person here, and he dictates which row you are going to be drafting from. So every round he moves up or down, and that is the row that is available to you. You can pay keys to move him if you want to, but that's what this little person does. So what you're doing is you're building this 3x3 grid on this one, just trying to find the best combos that you possibly can. So for example, this person here gets 3 victory points for every yellow shield that is in this row. So right now they have 3 shields. This one is 3 for every yellow that is in this row. So they've already got 12 points there. This person is going hard on yellows. Over here, you have these cards that act as purses, I think is what they're called. But you get to collect coins and put them on top of it. And those coins are victory points at the end of the game. So it's just a lot of comboing stuff together. I mentioned that this game reminds me a little bit of Creature Caravan, just because you are scoring. The cards are giving you things to score, and you need more of those in order to get it. Again, it's just a tableau builder is really what it comes out to, but it plays very quickly, and honestly, just a ton of fun. I really like Castle Combo, and I'm gonna get more than one play of it in this month. So yeah, that is it. That's all that I have for the arena review. That is a total of I said 22 games. That should definitely be 21 games on here. So let's see, a couple things on here. I didn't play my Terraforming Mars this month, so I need to play that. I'm going to, of course, keep on playing the White Chapel, or not the White Chapel, the White Castle. Continue working on Sky Team, and then honestly, kind of up for anything. I would like to try Azul Duel at some point, just to see how that is different than the other Azuls. I think Devin may have gotten that game. Now that I'm looking at it, that sounds really familiar. So maybe that's one that him and I will play in person. I've heard that Zenith is a very good 2-player game. Let's see what this is. It's a 2-player game where the goal is to gain control over 5 planets in the solar system using a tug-of-war mechanism. To win, you need either 3 tokens of the same or 4 different planets or 5 tokens total. This is one that I think I'm going to try out this month, Zenith. So that one looks good. But yeah, that is really all that I have here. Like I mentioned before, if we are not friends on Board Game Arena, go ahead and add me. That is my handle right there in the chat. I'll be happy to play games with anybody at any time. For the most part, if I don't know it, I'll learn it, or I'll just press buttons and kind of go for there. So let's go here. That is really all that I have for the arena review. Appreciate you guys being here. Quite a lot of games there that we went through. Down for Azul Duel. I would love to get it together sometime. Have you teach me a White Castle. Intrigued by Zenith. I have many on my want to playlist. Yeah. Ian, we are supposed to be doing something on the channel later this month, so we'll definitely talk about that. We can figure out something to do there. We have our weekly schedule there at the bottom of the screen. So today we did the Board Game Arena review. Tomorrow we actually have a review coming out for the game book In the Ashes. It was so good that Devin actually ended up buying a copy of the game as well, just because he really liked the idea of it. So we got a copy sent to us by Devere, and then Devin just really thought it was a cool concept, so he actually ended up buying it as well. So that is that coming out tomorrow. Devin has a playthrough of Civolution solo coming out on Wednesday, so he'll be doing that live. Get ready for a very long one. That is a terrific game. And then on Friday, we'll do our what we do every first Friday of the month, and that is our review of what games we got to the table last month. Ken, sorry, no X-Men yet. I was actually just talking to Devin about this. Him and I only got together 2 times in February. One of those times was for our month in review live stream, where I could not stay at his house afterwards, so we didn't get anything recorded then. And then the other time that I saw him was in Oklahoma with our other friend Joe. So we only had 9 games played together last month, and that was done over one weekend. So him and I have not played a lot of games lately together. We're hoping to get those X-Men recorded. That is definitely high on our priority list. So I don't want to promise it, but most likely this month you'll see some X-Men on there. So almost about 95% sure of it. How about a stream of X-Men analyzing X-Men skills? We have to play it first before we can do any analyzing of anything. So as of right now, we have literally not done anything with X-Men besides the unboxing that I did with it. So Blunder and Faith can help out. Yeah, well, I know Blunder and Faith are both waiting for their copies as well. So I know they are playing it on Tabletop Simulator. There's our Discord. If you're not in our Discord yet, go ahead and join that. Come talk games. Come get on some games. And then come find out about our Board Game Arena game night. So that is going to be on March 24th. We haven't decided what game we'll play. We'll kind of decide that the night of, but we'll be doing that as well. And then, yeah, just having some fun. So again, that's all that I have. I appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys talking. And I will see y'all again on Friday night. As always, remember, like, comment, subscribe. All that stuff really does help us, helps our channel grow. Till next time, good night.